Hello and welcome to Infamous MCP, the audio podcast. This is Brandon, or Mutilus on Discord.
This is Zach, go by Nitro Zeus on Discord.
This is CJ, I also go by Nitro Zeus on Discord. And I'm not changing it.
I almost changed mine to One Who Parks, just so that people would be like, wait, is the second person just always that?
It has to be.
Mm-hmm.
There always must be a One Who Parks.
My D&D channel, which Parker is in, also had two Daves, and so we had one of them change their name to One Who Daves.
One Who Daves, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, welcome back. Unfortunately, no news today. Let's get right into it. I guess currently playing. I think I'm going to try one more game with Apocalypse before I move on. I just haven't had time to play lately. We keep having like an even number of people and people showing up earlier as opposed to later, so I haven't had time to play. Because I usually can't get a game until at least 7 or 8 because, the store's too busy. So, after that, I'm very excited to try our Murder Stuff Kill list that we talked about. And so, I want to try that.
Mm-hmm.
What are you guys playing?
So I just went to Bug Eater and played Wakanda, and I can talk about that, but I can let CJ talk about what he's currently playing, and we can come back to that.
Okay. Well, just talking about the list itself, have you changed anything? Same old list?
With the recent updates, I did change, I swapped out Zemo and Namor for Angela and Gambit. Not actually. I know the way.
Two characters, not one.
The way that was phrased, not good. But yeah, swapped in Angela and Gambit. Was pretty happy with both of them. Definitely different, doing very different things than the other two. I think I might want to drop Immortal Hulk, but I haven't figured out what he becomes yet. So,
okay.
Oof.
CJ.
I was playing. So I did. I've been playing Defenders, and then I think I just did my next to last TDS game with Daredevil Crime Syndicate. So I've been doing one that in person, and then Daredevil online. Defenders is still fun. I'm probably going to swap out back to Legion of the Lost, because I was having way more fun playing that list, even though I was piloting it very badly. Mephisto, to me, is just more fun to play as a 5-threat. Doctor Strange is awesome, but the fun factors, I think, what I'm kind of missing. And then I'm probably also going to pick up, since you're not going to play Apocalypse anymore, that I might play some more Apocalypse, because I think it's kind of...
Well, I didn't say that.
So you said you're going to play the Murder Kill list, or is that the Murder Kill list Apocalypse?
Yeah, I'm going to put Apocalypse
in that's
the Murder
fine.
Kill.
As long as you're not running... The worst games I've ever had in MCP are two people
it's double
playing Apocalypse, because it's just like, oh my god. I think I played... took it to an Omaha tournament once, and I played Jean Paul. It was a mirror match into Apocalypse. I was just like, oh god, okay, well now I'm going to show how much I don't know about this list. And it was basically, and it was essentially a mirror match. We had 2 separate characters, and then I played second round into Apocalypse, and I was like, I will never.
I remember that, yeah, because there's only 3 of you, and you immediately
that might have been one of the worst NPEs I've ever had in MCP. Is just playing it's. And I feel bad because I want to play Apocalypse, and then I ran into somebody else who's like, I love Apocalypse. Okay, well, that's why I thought that having the X-Horse flex would be very interesting there, so I could just kill Apocalypse and have some catharsis. But yeah. Other than that, though, that's the only thing I've been doing.
Okay. So let's go ahead and jump into Bug Eater real quick. Avoiding battle reports. Just any important stuff that happened in your games that you thought was noteworthy. I guess we'll start with Zach's first round.
CJ didn't go, so it'll be just Zach's 4 rounds.
Just Zach's rounds.
Yeah.
I want to start off and just say congratulate my brother who couldn't be here, that he finished second and qualified.
That's not first round talk.
All right.
Quit. Stop.
Big spoiler. My first round, I played into A-Force, which was interesting. I don't know that I've played into A-Force in probably over a year. So it was very interesting to go into that. I played against a guy named Robert. He was really cool. He was playing... She-Hulk, Angela, and Mighty Thor. And I can't remember who his last model was, but he had those 3, and those 2 in particular were very scary. I figured out that I think I need a little bit of work into that matchup, because my list is very attrition based, and obviously that's what they want also. And so the whole time I felt like every model he had just had infinite power. They had all the power to do whatever they wanted, because I was trying to kill them and I was giving them power, maybe multiple times every activation. So we played Scientific Samples and Intrusions. I ended up winning 16-14, but it was a really, really close game. Mighty Thor had a huge activation where she KO'd King T'Challa and Red Skull. But then M'Baku put the team on his back and dazed 3 models in one round, and there just wasn't enough points left. So 16-14.
Well, he does have a
really
sturdy
hard.
frame, so.
That's right.
You said Mighty Thor in A-Force?
Yes.
Okay. Mighty Thor.
Yeah, not fun.
It's less that. Oh, sorry. I said it's less that she's not fun. It's just I think that every game I play with her, usually what happens is she spikes me on that first attack, and then she's just set up for the rest of the game, and it's just a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I think she's fine in Asgard or she's fine in A-Force. I really don't see why Josh tries to shoehorn her. Like, he would play her in webs. Like, it's ridiculous.
That's because it's a person holding a hammer. He loves that.
Mm-hmm.
He does love that. Yeah, I think if you can feed her some power to charge immediately or do something more impactful on turn 1, it can be great. But if it's just move, make an attack, stand there, like that's not. We've kind of
there's other 5 threats that do a little bit more interesting stuff, I think.
Yep. Speaking of 5 threats to do more interesting stuff, my second game I played into Guardians of the Galaxy, and I was very worried he was going to take CGR, so I think I balked on taking Red Skull too, because I just thought he was going to get blown apart. We played Inhuman Weapons and Infinity Formula, and so I brought Angela into that game, and this was, I think I'd only played Angela one other time since I'd put her into the list. And she really was a star for me kind of throughout the day and kind of throughout some of the other games I've played. And really a lot of it was just her ability to turn off all of their mods. And so the fact that she just turns off the Guardians' leadership, in particular, I think he had Star-Lord take a couple shots at her, and Star-Lord couldn't plucky against her. So it was just like she really hampered what that list wanted to do. And they've got a handful of squishier models, and so she was able to angelic assassin I think twice and just have a really big impact in that game. So I ended up taking the second round 17-11. It was very bloody just because Angela on one side and King T'Challa on the other were just kind of wiping up everybody there.
Okay. Round 3?
Round 3, I played against Cyclops X-Men. Against Keenan. He's a really nice guy. I played him once last year, and we had a really good game then. He was able to take me down 17-5, so I didn't score too many points in this one. We were playing Samples again and Intrusions, so the same as my round 1. I took Angela again in this one, and she kind of went and had a duel with Cable, and that was tough for Cable for getting to turn off his rerolls, and I think I had priority each round, so I was basically just having her throw the terrain that Cable wanted to throw. So she really neutralized him, but the game kind of swung early that M'Baku got dazed on turn 1. He got shot by Cyclops, then Cyclops used To Me My X-Men and then Field Leader to move Gambit into range, and Gambit got to daze M'Baku and take a point from him. And then top of round 2, then Gambit went and Gambit killed M'Baku. So one activation in round 2, my leader's dead, and M'Baku can have such a huge impact on the game that was really big for me to lose him so early. This was actually one game I've had Killmonger Usurper in my list now for probably 6 months or so. I think he's got some very good use. I think the community's kind of down on him just because of how efficient or how good M'Baku's leadership is and how explosive M'Baku can be in games. But this is actually a game in hindsight that I think is one that I should have played. Should have played Usurper's leadership. I think there was just a lot of opportunity to make attacks in turn 1 in particular, and I think his ability to strike back, to turn off mods also, I think he probably would have been a better choice. And so I think that was kind of one of my just overall takeaways is I think I want to take more of a stab at actually playing Usurper's lead. I think I played him in 2 games but didn't take his leadership. But I think his leadership still has some very good use depending on what the crises are. And so that was kind of a takeaway from that game was I think I've been just auto defaulting to M'Baku, and with as many energy attacks as the X-Men had, and just again the capacity for me to make attacks in turn one and to have priority, I think I would have made a lot better use of that leadership instead. And then last but certainly not least, I played Patrick from Omaha, one of the guys on the Woody Banter cast. He was a great opponent, very fun. I won that game 16-5 on intrusions. I played intrusions 3 times, and I think actually that was one of the takeaways from talking to people throughout the tournament was just every list had intrusions, it seemed like, and so just everybody was playing intrusions all over the place. I don't know how I got pulled every time, but intrusions I think was really, really heavily played throughout that tournament. Patrick kind of walked into a bit of a trap with Angela where I just didn't pick up a legacy virus, and so he walked Star-Lord over there, and then I had Angela go throw a size 4 at him, and he doesn't have power to brace, and then immediately dazed him. And then on top of that, I was able to use King T'Challa's builder to push Nova towards me, and then had Gambit move up, and I think Gambit did 5 damage to Nova on his kinetic ace. And so very early in the game, I just had some really, really big spikes. And so I think Star-Lord died on turn 2. I think at the end of turn 2, everyone but CGR had been dazed for him. And then in turn 3, I KO'd Nova and Rocket before he was able to play Deadly Duo. So it was just, I had some really, really meaningful impact, spike attacks in the first 2 to 3 rounds. And so it just dug him this huge hole where CGR was going to have to kill his way out of it. And every round, he was not necessarily power dumping, but he was trying to use CGR's Got Your Back, I think I can't remember what his is called, but where he gets to shoot, because I was killing everybody on his team, unfortunately. Yeah. So he was using that, and then CGR was just flubbing the Psychosis roll. And so I think in 4 rounds, CGR was only crazy for 2 of them, and it was the first round, and then the round after he was dazed. And so it just kind of he was immediately put into a huge hole that there was I just had too much firepower, and he just didn't necessarily have the action economy and efficiency with the models to get anything done.
Yeah.
So I ended up going 3-1 and finishing 5th. And again, I think one of my big takeaways was just how good Angela is, because I think I'd been kind of down on her. I'd been, Namor gives the reroll bubble. He's got a steal. He's got Prince's protection. He can stack. We obviously know how useful his toolkit is. And so it was actually someone else's advice who was also at that tournament. Garrett, shout out to you. It's great to meet you. Who was like, hey, Angela does a lot of work in this list. And so swapping her in, her ability to turn off mods, I think it's going to be hard for me to take Angela out now. I think she just does a lot more than I expected.
Very interesting to say that, I think. I don't know. Maybe it's just because of the way the meta is shaping up with rerolls that she's might be better. I'm not sure Angela is going to add. I think the new tool bias might be coming into this. If you get more games with her, I'm very interested to see if this opinion.
She's very boom and bust. If you get all the dice with her, then she feels like a god. But if you don't, she feels absolutely terrible. It's just as likely random person with rapid fire points at her and she falls down.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I definitely agree. I think
not to mention what if he just moves up Rocket to pick up the point and you can't throw anything into him?
Yeah.
You're like, oh yeah, this just doesn't work. Or there could have been a lot of things that could have gone wrong.
Oh yeah, she'd hate to see Rocket because
it's so stupid too because your 5-pointer is not even likely to kill Rocket.
Yeah.
It's
auto cover.
Sorry, what were the odds you did 5 on the 6 die attack? Pretty low. It's okay, I block, I don't die. Next turn, it's cool. Now I unload into you. Mm-hmm. You just fall down. You're whatever.
Yeah.
No D-mods or anything.
No, she definitely.
Yeah, you just end up giving him power to Deadly Duo, and he gets We Are Rooted and healed to full, and you're oh shit. Literally a 2-pointer is kicking my ass.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think it was I was able to put her in a good situation, but she definitely could have been put into bad situations. I think one of the thoughts.
I'm saying.
Oh, go ahead.
It's a good on your part to put your opponent in that position, but he chose that. He could have put Rocket up there. He could have also just not picked up the point.
Right.
Because he has to understand that in that situation, it's not likely he gets the point anyway. So just wait till she activates. Like, it's one victory point. Like, get your points somewhere else. Like, don't give your opponent great moves like that.
Yeah.
That's why I don't like her. It's like that is her play. It's the walk, throw, attack. Like, that's the turn 1 play with Angela. She doesn't do anything else. Like, if you just don't give her great plays, you don't let her become a 5-pointer, right?
Right. If she has to just move and pick it up and then stand there and then wait, then it's going to take her far too long to do anything.
Yeah.
I think what I kind of realized why I like her, but again, it's early enough. I've only played 4 games with her now. Is I liked having her, M'Baku, and King T'Challa, like all 3 on the table, because kind of like you said, she can't just do nothing, and so that sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So can M'Baku. King T'Challa tends to at least get a little bit of work done, but like he is just making 2 attacks, and so there's ways you can redirect those and really hurt his turns. But I kind of felt like in the games that I had all 3, it was like, I don't need all of you to be superstars. I just need one of you to do it once. And if Angela has a turn where she dazes 3 people, or M'Baku has a turn where he dazes 2 or 3 people, like that tended to be enough of a swing that then it was like, okay, well now if it's just normal the rest of the game, then we can kind of go through it. When it was like Red Skull 2 or when it was Namor, I felt like I was more like you have, like Red Skull 2 is like they can't block super well, he can't get this play. Like I feel like there was more counterplay to him in the games that I've played a lot of him. So I felt like having those 3 models where any of them can kind of win you the round in a sense. I kind of liked that, where it was like the floor is very, very low, but if one of them can
you're
win
going
you
for the high swing.
Yeah, I'm going for the high swing, and if I get that high swing, it's great. If I don't, then that's it.
For me, it's really bad though. Like, you should be one and opposite. This perfect example is like 4-round event. What are the odds she doesn't disappoint you in one of the 4 games? It's like very unlikely, right? It's gonna happen at some point. And all it takes is like, I activate Angela first, she flubs, they go, daze T'Challa, and you're like, okay, so now I've got M'Baku has to save this game for me right now or I lose.
Yeah.
Like, is commonly the situation you'll end up in. And if that's happening in a third of your games, winning a tournament is very difficult.
Right. I mean, honestly, that's kind of what happened in the X-Men game. Like, M'Baku got killed immediately, T'Challa got dazed early. So it was like, well, Angela has to do everything. She left Cable on 1, then she left Cyclops on 1. Cable got patched up. She left Cable on 1 again. Yeah. And so it was like, GG. If you just don't...
It's game over.
That's absolutely the floor of it is like, it's bad. And that's, again, where I still think there's possibilities in that slot, or that's more where, like I said at the beginning, I didn't play Immortal Hulk at all the whole day. And I think there's... All right, maybe his slot becomes something else that has a little bit higher floor. And so if it's like, hey, this is...
Or just higher opportunity. Like, if he's only making 1 in 8 of your games, do you need him?
Right.
Like, that's...
Right.
And, like, Namor and Red Skull are both so much more consistent. Like, if Namor's ceiling is lower, that's fine if he's never having do-nothing turns. And you always have the option of Namor just like, all right, well, I need to get this extract. It's like, all right, he'll just get it and leave. Like, that's plan A. Get the extract, get out, make them play around my terms.
Right.
Don't let them run away with the game. Like, if Angela is like, all right, what do? You can't kill this guy. And you're like, well, I literally do nothing else. So.
Yeah. Oh, you blocked the throw. Okay, I didn't roll great.
Namor is either helping allies or, ignoring rules or doing secondary effects, or he's got so many different options.
Yeah.
And Angela has high mobility, but only in very specific situations. Like, if she's doing her fucking ranged attack, that's a loss of an activation in most situations. Obviously, maybe you shot a guy with 1 hit point and you triggered Assassin, sure, but that's very unlikely.
Yeah, like she definitely can. Like I said, the X-Men game, she kind of didn't hit the ceiling in the way that she needed to. Or hit the floor, I guess, harder than I could overcome. So I think her slot is still kind of being tinkered with. You guys can tell me if I'm wrong here. The biggest challenge I think with dropping Immortal Hulk and maybe putting Namor back in is then I have 4 or 5 threats, and I think they're doing some different things. But it feels like it's like, overall, conceptually, that feels like that's probably not a good choice. But the other models in the list,
to have a
like
7 threat and 3 5s.
I mean, that's fair. Like the 7th threat is like
Yeah.
I can be 3 wide at 16. So if it's
Sure.
Fisk and I feel like, all right, maybe they're going to be 4 wide, or maybe it's Midnight Suns and they're also going to be 3 wide, but I have priority, then maybe there's some opportunity there. But that's just come up so infrequently because it's like, okay, there's not very many 16 threat missions. I'm probably not playing him on deadline because it's, why would they run at Immortal Hulk when they can just go to the other 3 points that are closer?
Yeah. Unless your plan is to ever play Angela and Namor at the same time, I feel like you have to pick one.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're too similar to have both of them in your list.
Why wouldn't you couldn't you just pivot for 16 anyways and just run like defenders without?
Well, I think he wants to keep his same archetype because he likes it.
Yeah, true.
Like he certainly has 16 points within his roster, right? Like that's clearly something he could do. But I think he wants to keep his like M'Baku King T'Challa package.
Yep.
And then play 16 with priority from there, and that only really leaves you one choice.
Yeah, true. Malekith.
Yeah. Well,
Malekith.
Don't.
If we're playing Malekith at 16, we're not taking M'Baku.
don't tempt me. I'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
You could also run a single stone Thanos.
Oh man, don't tempt me with Malekith because Red Skull's. Damn it!
Yeah.
All right, I can go Malekith, Red Skull 2.
You'd rather just play like a point down with
4 threat.
Hulk,
Oh man,
I believe so. Actually, that's what I was going to suggest. Is that I think that's probably for controlling on Fisk. I think that's the smarter long term.
I mean, he was it was Hulk until they dropped to 15, and then it was like, okay, well, I guess I just go to Immortal Hulk. But it is probably like, no, just do regular Hulk.
Does he even work? Like, does he actually help you?
He's immune to stun.
He's immune to stun. So is M'Baku.
So is normal Hulk.
Fisk.
Does that help you?
No.
Like,
I don't think the stuff you get from 20 threat or for 20 threat Hulk from the 6 threat 20 health Hulk. I think
20 threat Hulk.
Yeah. Whoops. Just normal
Maestro.
Hulk. I think he does. I think it's just the better control option because and probably the better damage option too. Like I think 6 threat Hulk.
so
is just,
it's all wild dependent. If you're hitting the wilds, then Immortal Hulk is better, obviously.
Right.
Outside of that, regular Hulk is a little bit better on attrition.
That's kind of the struggle with M'Baku's leadership. Is it's like it doesn't help you create wilds. You already have to have the wild. For Immortal Hulk, really for both Hulks, like Immortal Hulk, it's like it's not helping him get the throw more. It's helping him do more damage, which isn't necessarily a problem he has.
What about just putting in Time Stone Namor instead, and then have Angela at 5, Namor at 6?
Don't tempt me. I'll do it.
That actually fixes your point issue.
And you don't have to worry about you could charge immediately with Namor then.
Yeah. So that was something I was going to say too. That was one of the challenges I was having with Namor, like in comparison to Angela's turn ones, is he's like,
if
I'm going to
just
move.
a safe grabber, it's kind of mess.
Well, a safe grabber,
Well,
we're
you
like,
have
I'm just
Angela
going to
for
move, make a 6 dice attack. And compared to Angela, who's like, well, I'm going to move, throw, make a 6 dice attack. If those two combine and go great, shit, I get to move and make another one. Like it's her turn 1 has a much higher ceiling, but yeah, maybe there's definitely spots where over the course of a game, Namor would be better. And so I'm a big fan of Time Gem Namor. I might try that out.
No down shade at your opponent, but like I feel like a lot of people are going to realize that that's a low odds play to just give her an easy target on the first turn.
Yeah.
And so, like, I don't think you'll be seeing people walk up and just take it to the face like that very often.
Right.
Yeah.
The other game I played after Bug Eater was on TTS, and it was the Inhuman. Like we were playing spiders, and they were doing the Quicksilver stuff. So I brought Angela to turn off the mods, but it was also I've played a version of that list myself, and I know that kind of the gap is that Toad's a little exposed in the middle because you have to move power to Quicksilver twice. So in that game, I went up and threw a size 3 at him and almost dazed him. And my opponent was like, oh, I thought he was in a lot safer spot. And it was like, I just didn't even give him a window to give Toad a power to brace. And so in that game, it meant that Toad got dazed by Angela at the top of turn 2. But it was like that.
Yeah.
That was something where, again, she was really useful. But I don't even know that was him necessarily walking into it. It was just that play is very scripted out. Toad goes and grabs the middle one. You have to pass power to Quicksilver twice. And so I think that was more just me knowing there was a window of opportunity to throw some shit at Toad and maybe daze him immediately. And again, like Namor can't necessarily do that. I guess Time Gem Namor can like move and charge Toad, but
Well, you
Yeah.
If I guess no. Well, maybe because it depends where he puts his Toad. I guess because he's gonna have to be within 2. It depends.
Toad, it's
map
just
dependent.
barely. Angela's just barely out. The long base medium movers are just a little bit out from being able to hit Toad.
Yeah, because you'd have to be half an inch past center line to attack him.
Yeah. So yeah, I think there's an opportunity to drop Immortal Hulk, and I don't like. There's no tactics cards with him. I didn't bring one below, so.
How many times have you played Immortal Hulk with this list?
Probably 3 to 4, and it's been like either almost exclusively Fisk or Wedding Party, which granted are both in my list, but it's very like, what does my opponent have? Like, do I know they're also
Yeah,
trying
'cause
to
if
run
it's not
taller,
even-
and so it's more of a this is how I get priority play than it is that he's the optimal model. I'll say
Who's your 2-pointer, Okoye?
Okoye.
Yeah, I just think I can't imagine a matchup where you're like, thank God I had Immortal Hulk. I feel like it's just taking away from your list, and you should just put in another 5 threat with Okoye. Because then you can end up running like
Yeah, I've done that with Red
Namor,
Skull.
Angela, Koei, and then T. Oh no, because we're way over. That's not right.
No, because I've
It's
done King T, M'Baku,
T,
Red Skull, and
yeah, it's M'Baku,
Okoye.
T, Okoye, and then pick a 5.
Yeah. Yeah, I've done it with
Yeah.
Red Skull and Fisk also, because those little Hydra Troopers can just run up there and score, and if they get shot on turn 1, that's good for me. Like, that means T'Challa's getting power. So, like, that's not a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised that you think that running Immortal Hulk in that situation might be better than running Red Skull and Okoye.
What if you just cut M'Baku
Whoa.
and just run like King T's leadership sucks. I'm not saying it doesn't, but it's not like you have to take him.
No, that's where I think there's more. Like, I think that's more of where there's opportunity to maybe play Usurper's leadership, as much as people don't love it. Like, if I...
Oh, no, I meant just don't play a 4-point Condon.
Oh, and, like, just play
Yeah,
T'Challa.
just take King T.
That's actually
put in,
what
like,
I think.
Okoye and Shuri.
I think the people who
and
are,
then
like,
just...
are playing his leadership, I think that's what it is. They're just like, I just want him and, like, Killmonger 1 or something. And so it's not, I technically have a leader, but I don't really care.
You just don't want to buy a 4-point Wakandan is the whole reason behind taking it. Yeah. And that just opens you up to more different options. Like, you could do the Namor Time Stone thing, or you could do regular Hulk instead. Because you end up doing 10 points of Wakandans, and you have...
Yeah, the 6th threat left.
What is your... Yeah. Yeah, just thought.
If you're,
okay.
Like I said, if you're still playing Wakanda and still trying to figure stuff out, that's kind of interesting, though. Like, you're still honing this katana that you've already used to great effect.
Because you definitely need to be affiliated for the tactics cards, but you don't really need the leadership. Like, it's nice.
No, leadership's
it's
nice.
A good leadership.
It's a good leadership.
Yeah.
It's a nice little cherry on top, but like it doesn't.
Yeah.
That's part of like when Usurper first came out. That was part of why I was trying him initially. Was M'Baku's leadership. Like, you can go a whole round and never use it if you just don't roll wilds. If you're just already going to kill them, like there's times that it's basically not having a leadership because it's. You like I said, you don't have a wild, or you already kill them, or whatever. And so Usurper is like, well, I can guarantee that I can use his extra dice. That doesn't necessarily mean it's turning into a success, but it's felt more actionable than M'Baku's.
It's
I would
it's
say
more scriptable. You can plan around it. So be like, I hope I get the wild today.
Yeah.
But I think everyone agrees M'Baku overall is a better model than Usurper. And he's arguably got a better leadership, even if it's situationally better. I think the only question would ever be is, of the 3 4-point leaders, are you taking Black Panther or M'Baku? And I think there's a split decision there. A lot of people say M'Baku, but I think there's a fair amount of people that also say Black Panther. But you're already taking King T'Challa, so that's not an option.
Yeah, I don't even have Black Panther 1
unless
on my
you're
list.
just not taking him.
Exactly. It's just I'm playing King T'Challa.
It's just I don't know of any other affiliation that has such a weird like clusterfuck flowchart of what my leaders.
It is a clusterfuck
because even Cabal, which I would argue is probably the second most convoluted, is like, okay, well, Red Skull 2 is the best Red Skull, but Red Skull 3 has the best leadership, and Red Skull 1 has the most support. And they're all the same alter ego, and you're like, fuck me.
Yeah.
Like, even Avengers, like, there's only 2 Steves, and they're so different that it's not really a split. Both Red Skull 3 and 1 have competing claims for, like, what they're trying to do.
No, that's the thing, too, is the Wakanda
they
3
both have blasts.
Yeah.
They both have place allies. They both. It's really annoying that they're like so similar.
The Wakanda 3-threat I would die to have is Black Panther Chosen of Bast, and it's like that's never gonna happen. Like he's never gonna.
Yeah.
I'm not sacrificing King T'Challa to put him in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's still little tweaks to it. Gambit was very fun just because he interacts with M'Baku's leadership really, really well. But he's, he is still rather fragile. He's rather inconsistent. So he's going to have games that he just blows someone up, and he's going to have games that he does nothing.
And that's also, just to warn anyone listening, that's also Zach's personal bias.
I love Gambit. I'm so excited.
That's
Gambit's
that's his boy. He will make you play Gambit, and you'll be like, "Why am I playing this guy?" Zach said he was good.
He's still terrible for like 2 more days.
Yeah, it's
no, it was the second. He's legal for 2 days.
That was the second. Okay,
yeah. He's
playing
illegal.
with illegal characters. But yeah, oh my god. So my suggestion for you, Zach, is if you're going pure murder death squad with Wakanda, have you tried out Nova in there yet?
I have not tried out Nova. I also have not put in Logan, and I know Brandon is a massive fan of Logan, and would probably say that you should put Logan
Fan's
in
a weird way to say that.
Yeah,
he's the biggest fan.
Recognizer of truth. That's but what I have been called.
Yeah, oh yeah, I love getting my butthole torn open.
So I've thought about him because it is just like let's just kill shit, and so Logan. I don't know that he necessarily needs M'Baku's dice mod, but like. You're rolling 5 dice, you're re-rolling 2, the wilds already appears. It's just kind of a win more already.
That's actually when Usurper would actually be better. Although with M'Baku is a reroll or it just straight makes a hit?
Straight makes a hit. If you have a wild, you turn it into a hit. Okay. So for him, it's like, all right, well, wild.
So that basically makes his Pierce triple hit.
Yeah.
So that's why he's got the rerolls. You're fishing for the wilds. But yeah, it would also make Usurper's leadership solid because extra dice when you already have 2 mods and Pierce is already great.
Yeah,
it just increases the odds of getting what you need. Yeah, any of them would be fine.
Yeah, just taking the big killers, I think, and then because like you said, I can't remember who you're wanting to replace. But I know you said 2 characters at least.
Mostly Immortal Hulk, and then it was like Angela's kind of. I do think she did really well. I think you guys make really good points of like. And I saw like what her floor can be, so she's not necessarily a locked in forever. Yeah.
I haven't seen you play this list very often. It's actually pretty rare that I see you run it because you're almost playing it online and like not at the game store. Usually is where you're playing it.
Which is good for us.
So yeah. My question is, how often is scenario relevant to you? Like, is the fact that Namor can steal objectives is completely irrelevant to you? I think might be a fair statement, but I'm not sure.
I think it pretty much is. Like, there was definitely games, even in this tournament, where it was like, yeah, I could pick up that extract, but it doesn't necessarily do much besides I just score 1 more compared to, like King T'Challa maybe doing a spender. And it's like, well, do I care to pick that up? It's like, no, I care to move into range to kill this other person. Or even Angela, like there was times off the Angelic Assassin where it was like, I don't really care to pick up this thing that just dropped. It's more about like, I want to move and then I want to kill this next person or get an attack into this next person and then throw at them. And so having the extract there on the ground wasn't necessarily something that was big. But I also, didn't have to play into webs. I didn't have to play into a really scenario-heavy team. Like, I pretty much just played 4 other attrition lists, and so I think that's like webs is is definitely still a tough matchup. Where having someone like Namor might be more useful. But even I would say at Adepticon, I've kind of been able to avoid that a little bit, and I think that's more just luck of opponents than it is anything else. And so Namor is probably a better tech piece for that. Or even into X-Men. There was a really impactful Xavier stream that I think happened. I think it happened during Angela's activation. And so if you just flip those 2 models, it's like, well, Namor doesn't really care about that. You still just die. Whereas for Angela, it was like, well, you're left on 1. That was the last thing I can do. That sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna keep.
But Namor ignoring damage reduction is pretty relevant too.
Yeah. So still tinkering with it. I really do want to try Brotherhood. I have an idea for another list I want to try, but I'm just trying to still tinker with Wakanda a little bit because I still think it's the best list overall that I've put together. And so for something like this, that's a qualifier. It's like, well, I'm going to go I'm going to go play that because I've played 50 or 60 games with it now and have a pretty good idea of what to take and how it works, but not trying to be, I guess, too comfortable and be like, oh, it's all perfect. It's like, no, there's still things to try out that I think I want to test.
Yeah, you're saying it's not solved still, even though you've got so many games.
Yeah, like again, even the wrinkle of like, when do you play Usurper's Leadership, because it is situationally very good, and trying to understand those, because I don't think that's normal for most people playing Wakanda to even have him in the list. But I do think there's times into, especially again, like I've felt like, okay, into other attrition teams as well, the fact that he has a clapback, he's got a pretty good spender. I think there's definitely situations that his leadership will be better, and I think that's something I want to explore, is trying to find those situations and be able to swap M'Baku out for another model maybe.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I ended up getting 5th. I ended up getting an Apocalypse box, which has now made me also just want to write up Apocalypse lists. That's where it's all coming from.
That makes sense.
Very nice. And you know what's funny about that? Josh grabbed the Wakanda affiliation pack.
I know. He was like, I'm going to get the Wakanda affiliation. I'm like, why? And he's like, well, I just don't have them. And I'm like, dude, you could borrow them. Like, it's okay. You could take some. Yeah, it's just what he wanted.
I mean, I couldn't tell you last time I ran a Wakandan list, and I've got all of them too. You could borrow at any time.
His joke on the ride home
told...
was, he was like, I'm going to get the Rivals panel, and I'm just going to also run Wakanda. And we're going to walk into tournaments like Team Rocket, and we're just going to be running the same Wakanda list.
I heard a slightly different version of the story. Would you like to hear my side?
Yeah.
His plan is to slowly erode and take away your Wakanda affiliation badge.
I've already lost King of Wakanda. That's been gone now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no!
I want it back.
Who beat you?
I know.
Oh, is it from this?
Who took it?
Connor. He's from the UK.
A son of a bitch.
He's like 24-3 with it. With like we chat about the list, and there's a couple of us that chat about the Wakanda list, and we're all running like 9 of the same 10 models, and they all have like Shang-Chi in or something. But yeah, Connor took it for me. I'm trying to get it back from him. I'm trying to get the 40 and 50 badge for lots of games. But yeah, Josh's plan was to steal it from me.
Cool. All right, well, let's talk about Apocalypse.
So I'm going to start this off with a very broad stroke, which I asked CJ and Josh. And you guys have played Apocalypse way more. I've played against him a few times, and I haven't really seen his celestial technology power used a ton, to like where you bring 2 models within 5, place them within one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of want to start off asking you guys, like, how often do you use that in your games? Are you really worried about having to drop the extract? So I'm curious about that. Like, why is it never? Is it a power issue? Is it just you don't need to reposition people issue?
I've never seen it useful in the moment. Now, I'm sure there's been times I could have done it and forgot. And it is so unique of an ability that I feel like you almost have to plan for it. The only time I see it being worthwhile is when you like lose prio at a critical moment, and like pulling your guys back obviously can be good then. But I just don't see it, like, so often you're trying to do the opposite, right? You're trying to get forward. And the fact that you give up objective tokens when you do it means that there's no value in bringing them back for scenario play. It's got to just be an attrition play. So in that example, the only way I see it making sense is for losing prio. The only other time is, like, let's say, for example, it's late game, you have a strong scenario lead, you think the only way they can get you is if they table you, and you've got like 2 injured people forward. Maybe you want to pull them back to make it harder for them to get you, but I just don't see that being relevant.
So I guess I'd kind of give
CJ.
Yeah, I'll give CJ. Let CJ give his take, and I kind of a little bit of
what do you think, CJ?
So I think I've used it once. I have used it, but It was for memes and to piss Josh off. Because my goal was to have Death Toad kill his Malekith, which succeeded. Because I pulled Death Toad from a back like B or something over to the other side. He's like, uh-oh. I was like, yeah, I've got priority, bud. And then I killed his Malekith. It was fun. I think the main problem I've had with Celestial Technology is that I just have not found an area yet where it's been beneficial to me in the game to actually reposition 2 of my characters like that. Because typically the way it reads is like, hey, I need to immediately win this flank, and by the time I've got 5 power chilling on Apocalypse, and I don't want to use his spender or spend power for like any of his other horseman cards, it's usually I'm already in a weird spot with it, and I think Apocalypse is more of just like a giant 6-threat assassin that needs to go around and smush things he can smush very quickly.
So I think my follow-up...
I came up with an idea.
Yes, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say...
I have an idea before we move on past
all right,
this.
my follow-up was going to be then, like when you... Like the Apocalypse lists that you two have played that have been kind of having success, do you view them as more attrition-focused list? Are they more scenario? Okay, because that was what I saw was like,
his whole horseman concept is
it's
about
just kill
efficient
shit.
play.
So I was like,
yeah. I mean, you play kind of a balanced game. It's not a sellout list, which is what intrigues me about it, is that it's not just all in. It is fairly balanced, but it's definitely not trying to win on scenario. You don't have any tools to help you with
Right.
that. You have some tools to help you lose slower,
Right.
which is nice.
That's the goal. Is you're supposed to be able to put brakes on your opponent winning while you catch up in the attrition game.
Yeah.
So see, that's kind of what I've like the archetype of the list I have is just that all gas no brakes Apocalypse, and so using this to reposition war or death in a good spot where like, oh, if I bring over, I know I'm going to say Wolverine and Brandon's going to be triggered by the fact that Wolverine can fail real bad, but like if I bring over Wolverine, then I can have him charge and kill this model that's on 2 health, and it's like you could make an argument that Apocalypse is standing right there also. But that was the idea I had, or was wondering if anybody else had really tried or had success
so
with.
You're doing this in Servants.
Horseman?
Yes and no.
Well, so if you're not doing it in Horseman, then Wolverine would be a bad choice. If you're doing it in Horseman, Wolverine is a fine
So I'm going
choice.
to tell you my pivot list here, and you can tell me. I think you're going to immediately say it's
hold
the
on.
dumbest shit I've
Let's
ever
still finish
Okay.
talking about this mechanic
Okay.
first. So I think in concept, what you're saying makes sense. If you're like, because you want Apocalypse to activate as late in the turn as possible. So that is actually advantage for this mechanic then, because you can place him knowing they need to be within range 5 of your 2 allies and putting him in a good landing spot for them. That all works. It also means that you can leverage your earlier activations better, because as we've said, you want to activate him later in the turn. This gives you yet another tool to do that, because you can either activate them where they are already, or move them to where Apocalypse is if you need help where Apocalypse is, allowing him to still activate later. And so I actually like the concept of that. That's all fine. So go ahead.
So the broad stroke that I gave them was about, or that I questioned was about like using that in and out of Servants as a way to reposition like your very attrition focused models so that they can go kill something that's half dead, or can finish something off, or can just reposition the board in a way, because like you both are very experienced players, as am myself, so like you look at the beginning of the round and there's a certain board state and you have a rough idea of like this person's going to do this and this is going to do that, and I'm just wondering how much chaos he infuses into the round for your opponent. If you're like, okay, so this round ended, these 2 people are over here, maybe this person dazed somebody, there's an extract in play, yes or no, and Apocalypse is just like, okay, so they're swapping, or like this person's now over here, and so now the plan your opponent has set up near the end of the prior round, you've now immediately messed up because you've drastically repositioned 2 of your models.
So you're saying you're mostly wanting to use this as like a mental tax against your opponent.
Yeah,
right?
like you're
playing.
playing.
You want to do it once and be like, have your opponent be like, oh shit, I forgot Apocalypse could drag 2 people with him.
Yeah, you're like, hey, I've set this up so that maybe there's a little bit of a bunker here on this side, so I know that. Again, let's just say Wolverine, for example, is going to struggle to dig through this model that has DR and there's a bodyguard, or I've got Heroes for Hire or whatever. And so rather than just running your head into that wall, because that's kind of the option they've presented you, you just use Apocalypse and go, nope, they're somewhere else now. And now that plan you've set up, that your opponent set up, like, may no longer be possible at all.
You want to know what I was thinking about how to abuse this rule?
Yes.
So I was thinking, what list have I ever played that wants to put people in a position and then before my opponent gets to do anything, undo that positioning? And the only thing that came to mind was Kingpin. Is I want to just double move on your points, contest them, or score them, and then run away before you get to go. And so I was thinking, let's say we played an 18-point list. You could do Kingpin, Bullseye, Black Cat, Apocalypse, Quicksilver, let's just say.
Yeah.
So the whole point is, Apocalypse and Bullseye and Kingpin hold your back points, like on let's say, Scoundrels.
Yeah.
And then you've got Black Cat and Quicksilver who activate last and just move on top of the enemy points wherever you need them to go. And then just immediately first act, like, control phase, pulls them back behind Apocalypse so they don't get to go. And it's like, okay, cool, I'll just do that again next turn. And it's like, you have to come into me. And then Apocalypse is actually really good at fighting. Kingpin's not bad at fighting. And then, Bullseye and the other people can throw in some damage if they want. And if they just try and dogpile you, Black Cat can just double stagger. And then, or maybe steal and extract. And you just need to make sure that you don't put extracts on your squishy people and you put your extracts on your somewhat tough people, or you just hold Bullseye way far back, making sure he's safe.
Yeah, so that was kind of what I was going with.
And that's just an example list. I was like, that could be cute.
Good idea, I think.
See?
If you're
I like
wanting
building
to
out
see
these
what Apocalypse could do outside of Horseman. Do I think it's janky? Yeah.
It's super janky.
Hey, they're never going to see it coming.
I love
like
janky.
You said, they're never going to see that coming.
Yeah. Well, you could be like,
you see Apocalypse like, what are you
doing?
Like,
what the fuck? Like that sounds like at squad like list selection, they're gonna be like, what the like they're gonna be looking over at your list going, what the fuck is Apocalypse doing in this list? What is he gonna do that I'm not ready for? And then when he does that,
they're not gonna see it coming.
God
right?
damn it! And it's like it's such an off the wall idea.
He's doing crime.
Yeah.
Because you can actually use it on the first turn because you just like if he can walk forward and maybe shoot somebody, or you have some other way to get him power, and then he's like, all right, cool, power up, pull them in immediately. Like it could be really cool.
Yeah.
You'd have to make sure obviously that he gets the power before you make the decision, which would be really awkward. Probably not going to happen on the first turn, but I doubt your opponent's not going to let you score their points on the first turn anyway.
Right.
It's going to be turn 2 when they start pushing forward and they start leaving like one person on every point, and then just out of nowhere you're going to score all 5 secures. And then also have a couple extracts, and you're like, okay, cool, I scored 8-2, and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
You're like, and it's out of nowhere the game turns.
Yep.
Yeah, like the example you gave on Scoundrels. I mean, Apocalypse can just be on the middle Scoundrel, and he's
he's just like, you got to get me off of here, and he's already super tanky.
Size 4, medium,
and then
tough to kill.
Exactly. You got somebody like Bullseye just ready to walk back to his point, and just like, we're just gonna keep him up as long as possible.
So the idea I had about like the kind of 2 key models that I thought of, one of them I've played a lot, was Malekith and Red Skull 2. Playing under Malekith's leadership, where he gets a little bit more healing, a little bit more power, a little bit more movement, and kind of using him as a way to just put, like, I know Malekith can be anywhere on the table in a way, but using him as a way to like really put Malekith anywhere on the table. So like round 2, Malekith's going to charge, he's going to go kill this model. He's over there. All right. So maybe your opponent is like, all right, I feel safer on this other side. And then Apocalypse is like, all right, Malekith's over here now. Malekith's now going to charge. He's going to kill this other model. And just using him as a way for Malekith and Red Skull 2 to try and always, I know that's not the best, but like try and put them in a good position more often than they are.
I don't think that works. Like, give me an example of the timing window you're thinking of. Like, because when are you not going to have priority with Malekith?
No, you would have
playing.
You would have priority, but like
models.
maybe there's a. I'm trying to think of a good scenario to like.
What's the problem? You pull him back in the power phase, and so like I've charged into you. He sat there for the entire round, letting you attack him, and then before he gets to go again, I teleport him away. Like, doesn't make sense. So, like, why wouldn't you want to just activate again and kill the person you just dazed?
You definitely could.
Like,
you absolutely could.
But that's my point. Like, you wouldn't want to use the ability.
So that's part I wasn't sure of. Is like you said, Malekith might just want to kill the thing immediately in front of him.
Yeah.
But like maybe Red Skull can move and then he can kill something else that's a higher priority target.
The interesting thing would be combining this with Black Bifrost. And so you could end up making a chain of jumps that would literally cross the whole table.
Yeah.
And that could be interesting, but I don't know how that helps you.
Right.
It's hey, I'm going to pull... Like, it would just allow Malekith to go from one side of the table to the other.
Right.
But it happens at a very weird time in the power phase. And so you would have to not want to activate on that side at all.
Right, because you're like...
It's not like, hey, I can kill you and then run away. That's not what's happening. You're doing it in the power phase. And usually when Malekith is in the power phase is when he's trying to kill something.
Yeah.
And so you don't want to teleport him away.
Yeah, because he
so
wants to be up.
That's what I haven't figured out. Yeah.
Malekith wants to be in the mix, right? Like if you move
Yeah,
him back
he wants-
just to
he wants to
recharge
fight.
again, you're kind of just
Yeah, exactly. And
See,
so
but I
it'd
don't-
have to be like, hey, I've already killed you, or I'm putting Apocalypse in position to go in because Malekith is squishier now, and so the thing you could do is like double move Apocalypse late in a turn, and then it plan on porting Malekith in to where Apocalypse is. But like you could just again, he already has the maneuver tools for that with either Charge or Black Bifrost.
Yeah.
So I think that's a real waste. Not to mention this list only works at 18 points. Exactly.
Is it 18? Yeah. 18 or above.
I guess at 20 you could put in a 2-pointer, but
Bob!
like there's 2-point totals that's even legal.
Yeah. So it was, and then part of it was also having not played Apocalypse. I know most people are really trying to get in all 4 of the Horseman powers.
Mhm.
And again, leveraging Celestial Tech, like how easy is it to splash in Red Skull 2 with that sort of idea of like, okay, well, he can kill some shit over here and then he can kill shit here, and it's like giving you a way to move him around, but you're sacrificing a Horseman power to get it, but you are definitely taller because you've got a 6 and a 5.
Yeah, it's like is Red Skull 2 better than just like Cable Under War or
That's part I don't know, having not played it. It
Yeah.
was just like on, he's
I
not
don't
getting
know,
to do
yeah.
it. Because for me, the Horseman power I look at the least, I think, is Pestilence, and I don't know if that's universal or not. But the idea I had
What
for
about-
getting in Red Skull 2 was like you definitely need Famine, and there's some decent Famine options, and then either Death or War, and then you fit in Red Skull 2, and if there's somehow points left, you fit in the
Famine
last
is
one.
definitely the worst as far as gaining a benefit. The only good thing is it does generate the tokens the best. That's
Yeah.
the problem. Is when you start cutting Horsemen, you start losing.
You start losing
token
tokens.
count.
Yeah, and again, I haven't
Yeah.
played it to figure out like how
I
Sure.
think
fluid
that-
that
The thing-
mechanic is.
I think that when you come to the reason you're playing Horseman is because of the efficiency of all the extra shit you're getting. So I don't you'd have to be getting a lot to start cutting stuff, and I could definitely see a world when cutting Famine to get Red Skull 2 would be fucking worth it. Like that's a great upgrade. But like to do it just for Celestial Technology starts getting a little tight because then he
Right.
has to kill the person he lands on, or else he's not doing
Right.
anything.
No, I wouldn't say it's
Yeah.
just for that, right? But it's like you said, cutting
Yeah.
Pestilence, going Red Skull 2 with the grunts with Red Skull 2's efficiency might be better sometimes.
So-
and then if you have Celestial Tech in the back pocket, then it's like
Mhm.
I personally think Red Skull 2 is probably better than most models at killing Black Cat. Because he's not trying
Yeah.
to mod shit. He's just counting blanks. And she's not
Yeah, he's
necessarily
got fake
durable.
mods, yeah.
So he's just like, okay, well, even if I don't explode crits, I'm still probably rolling 4 to 6 on this.
Magneto's
So-
pretty good too, but that's just
Yeah.
because he machine guns terrain.
Yeah, so it's like Red Skull 2 is
Block
just like,
this.
okay, well, I can. The thing that's difficult to kill maybe for some of the horsemen, or like even Angela, right? It's like some model who turns off mods that just fucks half of what you want to do. And
Sure.
you have Red Skull 2 who's just like, I don't give a shit about that, I'll just kill you still.
I did come up with another attrition-based use of this.
Okay.
Just
Yeah.
put Apocalypse in Weapon X. Because
Okay, I did
it's a
think
bunch
about
of
that
people
too.
that already-
I did think
Hold
about
on.
that a lot.
they're already running pants on fire at you.
Yeah.
You wait till the power phase to determine who's ready to fight, who's not ready to fight. You pull back the people that aren't. You already have several people who either can't or are bad at holding extract, so that's not really a
Exactly.
hindrance.
Who cares?
And then, so you pull them back out of range, and then when they go to like shoot you, you use the leadership to walk back into melee with them
Yeah.
after they're done.
Oh, glorious.
Yeah. I've thought about that, like with Weapon X himself
Mhm.
in particular. It's like, he already can't hold shit. Who
Yeah.
cares if he's moving around? Like,
Yeah.
oh, I get
Yeah,
to
like
pull
Weapon
him
X and Honey
off a
Badger, you're
secure.
like, fuck it, yeah.
You're like, I get to
Yeah.
pull him off a secure, so he's now harder
also-
for you to kill, and then he charges and kills you. And it's like,
Does,
fuck,
uh,
that
He
sucks.
gives you a nice survivable model. He can, when all these people start bleeding everybody, you can start giving them different effects like Incinerate.
Yes.
I actually don't hate that. It gives you that nice sturdy model that you can put somewhere to hold up. I think this has gas. I think Apocalypse in Weapon X could be interesting.
Last
and
idea I had
have him
sort
stand
of
in the weapon
lead-based.
stash.
Yeah, weapon stash. Here you
Always-
go, man.
always
Here's
in
cover all the time.
Mhm.
The last one I had, and it was kind of what you said with Weapon X, was him with Dracula. For like, all right, they're going to bleed automatic. They're going to bleed with the leadership, and then the leadership wording is they gain
the timing
bleed.
They FAQ the timing on that.
Okay, because the
What's the
leadership
FAQ?
says they gain bleed. and then it's like if they already had bleed, is when you heal one. But with his past shit, it'd be like you're making them gain bleed. Okay, they already have it. Okay, so he gives them something else, but then they already
CJ,
had it.
are you looking up the errata? Hold on, Zach. Are you looking up the errata, CJ? Okay.
And then Dracula 2 felt like a model where it's like, okay, his action economy can definitely be a problem with the fact that he's like might have to move once. And so if you're using celestial tech, can you put Dracula into a good position where he now has someone within 2, where maybe he didn't originally, maybe he didn't finish a model off and they ran away.
It's just really hard to start saying I can never hold extracts with all my expensive models. That becomes really harsh.
Yeah. But then like Thralls is obviously open, so it's like okay,
sure,
you could still play it with
CJ,
Weapon X or something.
What's the errata?
Okay, let me see here. It's I gotta read through Thoris's cryptology. Okay, what haven't she been? Okay, so my leadership is those. Sorry, I'm reading. So what it is you cannot both apply a new condition and remove a damage. No, you have to choose to remove damage or to apply a different condition. So you can't stack up the effects.
Is that
so Apocalypse can't be like they're going to gain this. Okay.
Hold on. Is that what this guy is saying on the forums, or is that the rule?
This is the ruling from Thoris.
But what is he saying specifically with Apocalypse?
Yeah, this is specifically referencing Apocalypse as you will be remade through me.
Is it errata, or is it just this dickhead's post on the forums?
It's this dickhead's post on the forums. Okay. It might be actually in the FAQ document now. It's been a very long time since I've looked at the FAQ document.
Okay, I'm looking that up. I thought that's what you were looking up.
Sorry.
I don't love that quite as much then, because then you're
forums.
you're basically paying to like incinerate them, which maybe isn't horrible, but the model's paying and then Apocalypse is paying, so you're doubling up the cost.
Not in the FAQ.
But maybe pay 2 to auto incinerate's good. I don't know.
It's not in the FAQ.
Yeah, of course not.
Okay, so the actual wording is on Bloodlust of Thralls. Once per turn during ally character's activation, you may spend 1 to choose an enemy character within 2. Chosen character gains bleed special condition. If the chosen character already has bleed special condition, this character may remove 1 damage from itself instead. Then Apocalypse says, when enemy character within 5 would gain a special condition it already has, it may use the superpower. The enemy character gains one of the following. Yeah, this is a replace effect, so they would never have gained bleed. So that's not an FAQ, that's just not how it works.
Because they already have it. So you're checking for one or
that's
the other.
Just how the rules work,
Gotcha.
Yeah. Because you never gain bleed if you use this ability. What I was considering is you will just be able to do both, because there's so much fucking bleed anyway.
True.
But also you're talking about healing Dracula. Most of the time he's at full health anyway. And so you would just have the choice in the moment.
Yeah, just be like, I'm just going to incinerate you. Or I don't remember what.
But the other thing you can do, because it's only when you trigger the leadership.
Bleed, shock, slow.
But what you could do is, like, let's say I hit you for shock or poison first. I'd say, okay, I'll change that to a bleed if you already had that effect. And now when I use my leadership, now it's triggering the heal. Like, it's still useful. It's just you don't get both, which you shouldn't get both.
Right. But I thought that, having Apocalypse help out Dracula could be interesting. And then obviously you're getting into the old Hellfire Club where it's like, well, it's open-ended, but just whatever other models are good at killing shit.
The problem, again, like, I think those leaderships are really getting thrown to the wayside because, like, just having random models isn't good in the game anymore. Right. You really have to be selling out for one strategy, and then those strategies are good. The problem is none of these models fit into said strategies. Like Dracula and Mephisto and Dormammu, none of them fit into the efficient strategies in the game, partially by design, which makes sense because that's the exact problem with Hellfire, is that Emma, a 4-point weight, was not enough to discourage you just taking all of the fucking extract stealers. And so that's a good thing. We don't want lists like that to exist.
So I guess we can continue to talk about the Weapon X idea. So you have at least...
I don't think there's really anything else to talk about.
Yeah,
well, just what I would ask is, are you doing dual? Because you have Sabretooth, Deadpool, Weapon X, or not Weapon X, X-23.
Are you asking?
No, she's not one.
Did you say dual affiliation?
Yeah, like what? Do you have enough horsemen that are also Weapon X?
If
you just go like you're just playing Weapon X. Yeah.
No, it's just Honey Badger and
Deadpool, and
technically Wolverine, who is not affiliated but is a leader for Weapon X.
You have Deadpool,
and he's not the one you want.
Deadpool's in Weapon X.
Deadpool. Okay.
Sabretooth is not in Weapon X.
Sabretooth 1 is not. I always forget that. Only Apex.
Yep.
But it doesn't matter because it's not the versions you want anyway. Because you
Right.
want
You want
either
Apex and
Weapon
Logan.
X or Logan, and
Yeah.
then you want Apex instead, right?
Right.
Because Apex is in Weapon X.
Yes.
And
Yeah, and they're the good versions anyway. So it's like you would never want to play regular Wolverine and Sabretooth 1 in Weapon X.
yeah, I think it's just
Yeah, you could probably force it, but it would be bad. Because like you're running like 5 characters that you don't want as horsemen. It means
Yeah.
you exactly have 4 horsemen in your list left over.
Right. Because I think you'd
Yeah,
want
I would.
basically all of the Weapon X models.
You definitely want the 2 Wolverines. You want X-23. You actually don't want Honey Badger and Weapon X, in my opinion, but you can take her. She's fine. Deadpool's fine. You want Maverick. You want Apex. And
Yeah.
so, like, that's 5 models not in your Apocalypse list, which
Right.
already means you're fucked because
Yeah.
you would only have 1 legal choice for your Horseman list.
Yep.
Now, what you might do is build exactly my go-to. Like, I want to play Horseman at 17.
Right.
And
At
like,
17,
okay, sure.
these are my
Then
3
that
horsemen,
works.
4
Here's
horsemen.
your 17. Call
Yeah.
it. Everything else goes to Weapon X. Like, that'd be fine. But it's not a true dual affiliation.
Right.
6, 9, 12.
And that's the problem with Horsemen. It's just like Guardians. Like, there's nothing left. By the time you take all the shit you need,
Yeah.
there's nothing left.
Yeah, that's the main issue with running anything flexing with Apocalypse is that he's so dependent on you bringing the right options for whatever list you're bringing. I mean, you could run super specific reasons to have Apocalypse.
Yeah.
But typically you're better served by running the actual affiliation.
Yeah.
Yep.
And ideally, like, I would have, like, Iceman. I think Iceman's really good in Horseman, but I don't own him, and I'm not going to buy a $40 box for Iceman, so... Because I'm only ever going to play him in Horseman. Isn't
Yeah.
he? He's a Horseman, right?
Yeah.
Am I
Yeah.
crazy?
No, he is.
Okay.
He's Pestilence and Famine.
Yeah, so I would
I
say
was
like
gonna say,
the
'cause-
list I built, like I don't even know. I think I might have had a Pestilence.
No, wait, he's Death.
But it was like Apocalypse. It was Apocalypse, 7 Horsemen, including Sabretooth, since he's also Cabal, Malekith,
Death and Famine.
Red Skull 2, where they like was the idea that I had. So I could kick out Malekith.
So I think you got to do one of two things. You either have to have a very specific plan for not running Horsemen, because when you get to list building and stuff, and you start trying to figure out what Horsemen to take and whatnot, you're gonna be like, "Oh shit, I wish I had this instead of Red Skull sitting here," because you'll,
Yeah.
right, or either
See,
you have
me
to.
being me, I just want Gambit every game.
Well,
That's a lot.
same thing too, right? But I think that the issue is, I think you could splash Apocalypse other places and get him to do stuff you want to do and actually have success with it. Or I think you could run Servants with a very specific edge case scenario. But I don't think you're getting a very good takes all comers list by doing a weird Cabal Apocalypse hybrid thing. I just don't think that. I don't know if Apocalypse without the Horsemen generally is a smart move, but if you get something very specific you want to do with them, you might be able to make it work.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Like I said, not having played him, haven't really seen him splash that I can recall, like almost anywhere. Is just wondering how reliant he himself is on having access to those horseman power, having access to those rerolls, and if you stripped all of that away from him because he's somewhere else, how effective
he's
is
not
he?
worth 6 points. Yeah.
Right.
The biggest thing for him is that in Horseman, he's like a turn 1 combat model. Because
Right.
you just like place double tap with 7 dice builders, which is huge. So then you go into turn 2 with a whole bunch of power, and then the horsemen start stacking up tokens on you, and you have a bunch of dice mods. You're like, okay, cool, I'll just use war now.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, my 7 dice attack is the equivalent of a 12 dice attack. And you're like, oh, fuck. And then he's just blowing people up and gaining a bunch more power, and he's then using that power to either sub out stuff or whatever, play tactics cards, all kinds of stuff. It ends up being very effective, I think.
Yeah, and that I mean
Um,
that's just the design philosophy between some of these 6 threats they've released, where it's like they are good in
Yeah,
their home.
I think they did a
Do
great
not
job
splash
designing him in that sense of like he is absolutely in his best home in his own affiliation. He does have things that can go other places, but he's designed to do that. I think to a degree Magneto is kind of that way too. It's like Magneto is designed to be played in Brotherhood primarily with basically his own leadership, and everywhere else he's got a pretty significant limitation.
Yeah.
I've been
And
thinking
he's got a pretty significant limitation in his own
Yeah.
He does, but it's
As the
way
leader,
more.
he's
Yeah.
at least got his leadership. I mean, that's the best leadership you can probably run him with is his own leadership, right?
Oh, agreed. I think
Right.
his kit works really well. The problem is the rest of the affiliation doesn't make up his weaknesses. It turns out when you change the whole way the missions work, and he was designed to take advantage of one of the types of missions, then like it's bad.
Yeah.
He doesn't do anything.
That was
if we
one of
got
the
rid of
gaps I saw.
extracts.
Yeah.
If we got rid of extracts, Black Cat and webs would suck too. Like, what
Yeah.
if we talk like it's just different?
Yeah.
That's kind of what the gap I saw already too, with like the Apocalypse Celestial tech with like Malekith or something. Is it's like, well, you're probably running intrusions, so why don't you just hop through the fucking portal?
Yeah.
Or you're running Fisk or Wedding Party, and like, why is your opponent letting you push them? Why are they pushing them closer together when you're very clearly like setting up this thing?
Exactly.
But if you push them together against Servants of the Apocalypse in the first place, that's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it was like it may be meteors. It could be interesting, but like I couldn't even feel like I could find 3 secures that.
Yeah, but Apocalypse
that plan would
be crazy. He's good on meteors.
Yeah,
right. He could.
He's good at
all
meteors. So I'm saying like if it was like him, Malekith, and then one other model, is that good enough on meteors?
Well, you'd have to figure it out. I mean, as
good or bad as it might be, it doesn't matter because you're not using Celestial Tech, which was your whole point.
Right.
Yeah, and then like at 6 points, I hate to say, if you're trying to figure out who the best character to slot in is, it's you got to do the Hulk test. Is it going to be better than having Hulk there?
Right.
If you're playing competitively,
you know what it would be actually really cute to do is all the team up cards. Just take like fucking Thunder Wave and all that other shit. You're like, hey, Daughters of Thanos, just teleport them right next to
Celestial
each other.
Tech.
It's like, boom.
Parker could get Wolverines to work.
Wolverines
in Weapon X
to the end of the line.
In Weapon X, yeah. Like, hey, Parker,
it would be
it's only gonna be 8 power
for 2 rounds. You're like, X-23's over here, Logan's over here. They're like, all right, well, they're never gonna get Wolverines off, and then you're like, bang, right here.
Got it.
Here's
you didn't even see it coming.
Get fucked.
Wait, hold on.
Surprise Wolverines.
How much power is that actually?
Undefeated.
It's going to be 10 power.
Wolverines, I think it's 2 each.
So it's 3 each, and then it's 4 power for Celestial Tech. So you're spending 10 power.
10 power.
$10
perfect Wolverine.
I will say that Apocalypse ends up with a silly amount of power in a lot of games, but that's playing under Horseman. But in Horseman, he's spending for powers a lot. So like when you take all those powers away, it's like he's got 2 fucking superpowers.
Yeah,
and he spends power on.
Right, that's what I think.
I'm not swapping types.
Just, if he just makes his 2, like if he's in a position, he can just make 2 attacks against their weakest defense. Plus power phase and maybe being attacked. Like, does he? He should get to 4 all the time. I would think.
Well,
but
actually,
I don't know.
You would be also spending for War. I think if you're within ideal, because War is not limited to. Well, actually, he might be limited to War. This fucking affiliation.
He's limited to use each one once.
Okay. Yeah. No, the War character is not. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe, but still, I don't know. That's a very interesting conversation.
Fastball special. Drop in Colossus and Wolverine.
The other thing you could do is like get people that have specific auras, like Loki maybe, and teleport Loki into the middle of their list after like the turn's over,
right?
But before they've done anything. I don't know if anybody else has like a harsh enough effect to justify that.
Probably not. Like he could appreciate if he dragged Zemo to himself. But
Crimson Dynamo,
dude,
just surprise drops Crimson Dynamo on top of them.
If you're playing 8D chess, if you're like,
dude, just think about it. Loki 1 and Crimson Dynamo just every turn get teleported on top of you.
There's actually
fuck my life.
Actually another character that has Crimson Dynamo's superpower too, so you can
stack it. Max.
You could do this. Not
that's true. You could do both. You'd run out of power, right? Like at least because you could teleport them in, immediately activate, shock their whole team, and then just be standing there with infinite power.
You can't use.
And then you're like,
I'd say use King T.
That would be really cute,
but you can't. There's no way you can make that.
In
work.
that example, I would do Loki with the Space Stone. That way, you can teleport Crimson Dynamo again.
Jesus. That's a Brandon style list. They're like, hey, what if Crimson
That's
Dynamo
a Brandon
just
list
goes,
right there.
Fuck you every round.
Yeah.
Gentlemen,
I'm gonna shove this robot up.
I really want to see one of us try the Kingpin idea and just have your opponent look over and go, what in the shit is going on that side?
It only works at like high points though, so
yeah, you just
wouldn't be worth it. Yeah,
it'd have to
was
be
that not
very
a 17
specific.
point list you suggested?
It's 18.
Was it?
When that's it. Well, you could do 2 pointers. Like you could do Toad instead, but like they're just so squishy that because you're gonna do Kingpin, Bullseye, and Black Cat is your 9 points, and then Apocalypse kicks it up to 15, and then it's pick another model, and that's your point total.
Yeah.
Because there's no point in doing it unless you're doing 18. Because you would only have 2 models like to even teleport. You'd have 4 models wide, and 2 of them can't hold extracts. Like that would
You
make
do yeah. So you need to do that. Okay.
Yeah.
Pants on head.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I have more.
The other thing
ideas.
you could do, you could play it in Midnight Suns so that you could teleport Immortal Hulk back on the turn he's vulnerable, give him time to heal up, then go back in.
After he steals an extract.
Yeah.
That could be interesting too. Like even if you maybe don't have priority and they're set up to immediately kill him, and you're like, he's fucking over here now. Like
I don't even need patch up. Yeah,
you're like, he's over here now. Unless you have another model right there,
range 9 that way. Like goodbye.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to a degree, also depending on the power economy you have, like you're putting him immediately into like a sacrifice range or a heroes for hire or something else. If you could combo those,
yeah.
You should play it in Brotherhood, Zach. That way, if Magneto gets displaced, you can just bring Magneto back.
I think that's a sin. Actually,
No,
I think that's actually illegal to do that.
He
He definitely is going to have 4 power. I'll tell you that much.
That's what I'm saying.
Not going to be. That's not going to be a challenge.
Apocalypse will always be within 5 of Magneto somewhere.
Magneto can try his absolute hardest. It's not possible for him to get that far away.
But you just have Asteroid M in Brotherhood.
But then you could take.
Yeah, but what if you have Asteroid in every round?
Yeah. And then.
But if you have Asteroid M, then Apocalypse has cover.
True.
Just,
you also have double
it still
sixes.
works in Brotherhood. You just play Apocalypse in Brotherhood, not in Horseman.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So you get all of it. It's just still not good.
He's saying play Apocalypse. Yeah, because then you're playing 2 6s that are probably fine, and that's your baseline.
Yeah. The only problem with this plan is your opponent says I score 6 every round.
You're like, yeah, but hey, Magneto killed somebody.
Not if.
I don't think he does because they don't get anywhere near you.
Yeah, they stay far. They grab all the extracts. And they just let you have the secures in most
congrats.
scenarios.
The cute one I thought of too was like 4-threat Black Widow, where like she chooses to drop it, but it's also like, why wouldn't you just have her continue to hold it?
You can do it to the shield.
Why don't you
shield
just keep
too.
holding that thing? Yeah. Shield grunts make him drop it. Bring him.
I do also like, because we talked about Mortal Hulk and doing him in Midnight Suns, I do like being able to bump with Apocalypse. That'd be
big
bump.
for him. Yeah, move, bump, make it.
It would make his range 3 so good.
Yeah. I think it's an interesting idea to keep Immortal Hulk alive, but it's a very expensive idea to keep Immortal Hulk alive. But
Why is it
also,
expensive?
Just because you're splashing in a 6 to do it, and you got a 7 already. So
I think you would never do any of this stuff unless you thought Apocalypse was worth 6 points in your list.
Yeah. You could work decently well with Blade.
All his
with the auto
cards
bleed.
tied to the servants.
First one is not. That is the one I looked up because it's like that could be nice. Even in like Weapon X, if you're like, okay, so I don't know, X-23 Maverick's injured and on fucking 2 health. I'll just kill Maverick and Apocalypse gets to go again.
Yeah, I mean, excuse me, but yeah, it's
Honey Badger. You kill Honey Badger. She doesn't.
You
even
kill Honey
contest.
Badger. Yeah. I mean, like it. That one being unaffiliated, I think, could be interesting, and I think in the Weapon X idea we had could be very interesting.
Yeah, because you're still going to go as wide as possible. I think that's the one that I like.
You could also,
that's the one I think that's got the
enough
most
just
gas.
kill Weapon X to trigger his shit. I think his is just when he KOs.
Okay,
when
so
he KOs,
Gene is unaffiliated, so you can play. Was it the first one or whatever it's called? The Activate Apocalypse.
Kill your 5-threat.
Kill Gene. Yeah, kill Gene.
I gotta kill Gene. I'm gonna
then
kill
you
Phoenix.
play the card Gene. You immediately attack with Wolverine, and then Apocalypse gets to activate again. And then at the end of the round, you play the other card that resurrects Phoenix.
Oh,
and so she comes back.
That's fucking hilarious.
She comes back on round 3. You get to double activate Apocalypse
round
on
1.
like the first turn.
You get a free Cyclops attack. No,
Dude, your opponent's gonna have no idea what's going on. You're like, I'm gonna
16
move up.
points.
Apocalypse is gonna go.
And
He's
3 tactic cards.
That was the first one. He's gonna kill Phoenix. They're like, wait, what the shit?
Were you guys around when like the MODOK 2 first came out, and I came up with like the most ridiculous like line of play
the Daisy
ever?
chain.
It's like a 4 tactics card chain that you play in rapid succession. It's so you would get yourself in a situation and you'd play like Simpleton, I'll do it myself, and MODOK 2 kills your own Sentinel. When he dies, you play the detonation blast when the Sentinel dies, so he explodes.
Oh, Jesus.
He damages everyone nearby. Then you play last minute save off of Lockjaw. Lockjaw resurrects the Sentinel back there. Then you play online operational to resurrect the Sentinel back to full health.
Oh my god.
It was amazing. And then they added like 3 of the cards immediately.
Yeah, I think it's just the dog card, and then everything else works.
Yeah. I think
last minute's only enemy now or something like that.
Last minute is only to enemy effects now. It was just said for any reason when it first came out.
Man, if Weapon X had already activated and was on like 1 health, and you could just auto kill him to make his shit go off when he KO'd, that'd be so fucking funny.
Is it? I thought it was. Is it just raw? Is it raw damage when you roll it, or?
Yeah, it's just raw damage. When he would be KO'd, 5 dice, crits and wilds, deal a damage. It'd have to be like, again, he has already activated, which then means Apocalypse is staggered. He's got 1 health left, and someone's about to kill him. So you're just doing it to trigger that yourself.
Is flipped, and then he doesn't get staggered.
That's true.
Why does he need 1 hit point?
I just like, it seems like he's likely to die. Right? No, it's more like, if
you just think he's going to die, just play it.
That's what I mean. You just go like, he's going to die. I'll just blow him up.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, it does kind of deny your opponent like power, at least, from attacking him. It's not going to deny them power from him doing damage.
Yeah. Okay. I think we've played this out as far as we can.
Everyone play Apocalypse and Weapon X. That's what we learned.
All right, well, this has been Brandon.
And Zach.
And CJ.
And you just listened to Celestial Technology.
So what are we going to call this thing?
I got it. Okay. Incredible, new, fantastic, astonishing, mighty, original, uncanny, sensational podcast.
I'm just going to put down infamous.